should have a business manager. I should have all of these things in place. And that's what I was learning. Like, I took that more of like a learning experience as far as like trying to become a mogul. That's why I'm like, I'm a mogul. I'm a businesswoman. And I feel like the son was never mentioned. And he would really like to invest because he was next.
We want to hear her talking about Diddy. I ain't gonna lie.
The Global Icon Award, the Lifetime Achievement.
Here we go.
You thought. Yeah.
Oh, this is when she started crying.
And I feel like in life you gotta go through shit to get through shit. Like Usher said that, and I was like, wow, that's some real shit. Yeah. And I feel like in life, everybody is going through something. Whether it's a divorce, whether it's a death, whether it's they just lost their job, just anything. And that's what keep me going, because I know that like life not perfect. And we gotta learn from our mistakes, and life is a lesson. And I feel like the people that I thought that would be in my corner, or that are like, when I was going through this shit, nobody called me. Nobody called me to see how I was doing. Like, people was really like,
damn.
You thought. Yeah. So when it comes to Diddy, why do you think that you are so heavily involved in everything? Like, everything that comes out about him, like you said, it's automatically, well, what you think? Mm-hmm. Well, how you feel? What you got to say? Because people feel like I was Diddy's biggest cheerleader and I made him my brand. And I feel like Diddy was on brand for me. I got with Diddy and brought him into my life. I had him at the office. I was still doing Rich Roulette in the split. All right on. Ari. Slapping my ass. I ain't never think I was bigger than the program. I was still on my City Girl shit. I was still doing remixes. Don't play with it. You did Gucci Mane. First Impression. I was still working. City Girls was on tour with Jack Harlow. We had At Bad. Diddy came to me with the song. Told JT, let's get on this record. Like, I was still doing City Girls shit. I was heavily involved in the group. I never thought I was bigger than the program. So with Diddy, what was your experience with dating him? Because I feel like in the headlines, it's a lot of just chaos and it's a lot of allegations. And so I think that's what makes people feel like, well, since you were so heavily involved, you were a part of these things, or you were around these things. So what was your experience like, dating him? Well, I met Diddy at Peak Party, and I met him when he was in a love era. And I met Diddy when the world was celebrating him and giving him his flowers while he was alive. Mm-hmm. Like he was getting the Global Icon Award, the Lifetime Achievement Award, the Key to the City. He had a new album that was coming out. So I was celebrating him with the world. And I just feel like everybody trying to crucify me for it. Like, you was his biggest advocate. You was his cheerleader, but I was just celebrating when the world was celebrating him. Mm-hmm. So why am I being crucified, or why am I being separated? Yeah. When I was dating him, it was love, love, love. The frequency is high. We used to laugh because that's like him saying it's always, what's up, queen? Yes. So I just felt like I met him like in a whole new era, and that wasn't my experience. Mm-hmm. Like, when I met him, it was just like, I told y'all on season 1, I even asked him, like, why you fucking with me? Why you fucking with a city girl? Yeah. Why you coming into my world? Because I'm on some whole other shit. Like, my lyrics and stuff. Yeah. And it's just like, when I got with him, he was just a man. Like, it was more of like, okay, we ain't gonna do that. We gonna sit, we gonna communicate, we gonna get solutions. What's going on? Like, we ain't even going that route. So that was my experience with him. So a lot of the things that people really like say about him, you didn't experience that as in dating. That's not something that you saw. So is that the reason why you never said anything? Is that the reason why when all of these allegations and lawsuits came apart, like, why didn't you speak? Because I can't speak on something that wasn't my experience. And I can't speak on something that I don't know. I can't speak on these allegations because I wasn't around at the time. I don't know that person, and that wasn't my experience. So with you being, I feel like, a survivor of domestic violence, he never hit you in a relationship. He was never violent. Was that something that you had to tolerate, or that wasn't a part of, because I feel like that's the biggest thing to him right now is you know, what he going through in these lawsuits and, you know, that video that came out. And it's like, I feel like a lot of people are wondering, was that your experience? And I know personally that you've been through domestic violence before, and I don't think that's something that, I know that's something that you've grown from and that you don't tolerate.
I've been through domestic violence in 2 relationships. And I told myself, after the second relationship, I would never put myself in that situation again, especially now being that I'm a mom. I'm a mom. I was a mother then, but like having a daughter, like I would never put myself in that position. I don't stand for domestic violence. I'm just not going for that.
So do you feel like with dating Diddy, like, was it a business relationship? Do you feel like it was beneficial for you?
I feel like it was beneficial for both of us. I think that, like, you know, I was able to come and be a brand ambassador for DeLeon and take it to a whole nother level, because I feel like, I won't say nobody wasn't drinking DeLeon.
Okay. Should get some more tweets here, people. Should get some more tweets. Let's go. Alrighty then. We're still waiting on some more shit. Okay, we're still waiting on more tweets. All right, people. Vlad is running an interview with DJ Vlad. He's running an interview with someone who we thought would be on the stand, but hasn't shown up yet. It looks like it's unlikely he would show up if he's doing an interview now. It's with the bodyguard Roger Bonds, who speaks about how Diddy felt about 50 Cent.
You know, I'm whatever. Do you feel on some level that Cassie really enjoyed it and really liked it, and maybe certain times she didn't? To me, it doesn't seem like she was being forced every time.
Right.
What do you think, based on being around them?
I think it was drugs.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? I think a certain amount of drugs is gonna make you feel a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So and I think that's one of the things that we all hear is about the amount of drugs that they was doing. So you probably doing it to get to that point where you really don't care or you really do enjoy. So if I had to answer it, I would say depending on how much drugs they did, I think it was times that she really did enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? I think it was times that she actually didn't remember it. You know what I'm saying? I remember one conversation, but I just had my ears open and I heard Puff say, yo, man, I don't remember that shit. I was high, yo. So when I hear about some of the stuff that they say and he say, yo, I didn't remember I was high, I know that some of that shit is true because I heard him say that shit before.
Now, 50 Cent's baby mother, Daphne Joy, was mentioned. And I know that she was hanging around Puff. Was that after you left?
Yeah, that was after.
So you never saw her?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah.
Got it. You know,
him and Puff always had that off and on type of situation. We almost had a fight at the MTV Awards and all that stuff.
Okay, so he mentions this. I remember I mentioned this to Tony Ayo when he was on my show last week.
Right.
So I guess at one point there was some sort of friction with 50 Cent, and it was at the MTV Awards.
Right.
And I guess they were talking, and Diddy was like, I don't like that all that back and forth stuff. I like guns.
Okay.
Do you remember that conversation?
I don't remember that conversation because him and 50 went off to the side, but I remember it was just me and Diddy there. And it was Yayo and a bunch of dudes from Queens sitting there, and it was 50, and Puff was like, yo, I'm just going to walk up on him and punch him in his face. And
wait. Yeah. Puff said he's going to walk up on 50 Cent and punch him in the face.
Yeah, he said, I'm just going to punch him in the face. And I said, yo, what are you talking about? He said, yo, ain't that your man? He said, man, go talk to your man. I said, yo, hold up, B, because he knew me and Yayo was tight.
Hold on.
Let me see
if I get Yayo on the phone real quick. Hold on a sec. I gotta hold on. This is too good.
He was gonna sock out.
I tried to get Yayo on the phone.
Yeah,
just to get his reaction to this.
So I try to talk some sense in Puff head because the other people that was around is just crash dummies. Whatever Puff say do, they do. Me, I'm thinking about the repercussions. So I said, no matter how tight me and Yayo is, you punch his man in the face, all of them niggas is getting up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just me and him. So I said, yo, B, you can't do that, man. I said, yo, it's just me and you here. He said, what, you scared? You scared? I said, nah, I ain't scared. I said, I'm just telling you like that don't make no sense. So him and 50 talked, and then after about 10 minutes of them talking, he said, all right, come on, yo, let's go. And then Yayo came up, and me and him started talking, and he told Puff, yo, you know who you got with you? Da, da, da. He was like, yeah, I know, woo, woo. And that was the end of that. Because that was like a conversation and a beef and a problem that was over my head. Yeah, it was there because we bumped into him. But I know that they talk on the phone all the time, or they deal with stuff a different way. And then it was times when we got together and they act like they was hunky-dory. So I really didn't know what was going on with them. It was an off and on type thing.
Yeah. When I mentioned the whole gun thing to Tony Yayo, I don't like to go back and forth. I got guns. Tony was like, yeah, we were into guns too.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Exactly.
We were ready for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have bulletproof trucks. After Diddy and 50 had been doing some press for MTV, Diddy told her that he was having some problems with 50 and that I like guns, in terms of dealing with it.
We like guns too. At that point, niggas would have got eradicated. It would, like, come on, bro. We have bulletproof trucks. Like, we like guns too. Like, when it come to 50 and us, we beef with the best of them. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I never had a friendship with Diddy. I never had a friendship with not too many people in the industry. So that's all I know. But at that point, like, in my 20s at that time, and still to now, like, I'm just keeping it real. I don't want to say anything crazy because the internet has been indicting people lately. So I don't want to say that crazy. But, like, I'm just like, that would have been crazy for him. I think Diddy was just talking that day. I think he was just talking. I think he just wanted to look
Tony Yayo one of them.
good, cuz, come on, bro. No way.
I remember, how 50 and them used to wear the bulletproof vests on stage?
Yeah.
And so forth? I remember being in G-Unit offices. This was about maybe 2004 or so.
Okay.
And, I would show up with my camera. This was when I was a DJ and I was doing DVDs. And I remember Tony Yayo walks into G-Unit offices, takes off his jacket, and he had a bulletproof vest on, just walking around.
Right.
This is not a stage prop.
Right.
This is not for entertainment. Yayo was really wearing a vest.
Right. That's when they was beefing with Jimmy Henchman.
With Jimmy Henchman. Because remember, his Bentley got shot up.
Right.
So Yayo was like, oh, okay. He should have done that. We were ready for that.
Yeah. I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. Jimmy even told me that. Jimmy even said they not to be played with, Bonds. He said they not to be played with. And hearing that from him was a surprise to me.
I mean, look, I know 50. I'm not best friend.
Interesting. Here we go, by the way.
Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse. Today, it's Wednesday, June 11th, day 21 of the U.S. versus Sean Combs trial. Now, there were some hiccups yesterday because, as happened with Mia, where they put up an exhibit and then made threats for noting that the exhibit had been published. It was apparently an error, but that's not the press's fault, I don't think. Yesterday, Tinny Garagos was questioning Jane, the witness known as Jane, and identified the gender, which I'm tactfully, now that they've X'd out, not revealing, but they did X it out in the transcript, and the whole thing's become kind of untenable. There's a point at which it's imperative that, both to allow live reporting and just for general First Amendment purposes, things said or shown in open court must be able to be reported without any kind of threats. So there's that. I'm coming up to Foley Square here, where there's a lot of TV trucks, and this is not for the Diddy trial. This is for the ICE protests. There have been many of them. Yesterday, this square was filled to the rim. The issues went beyond ICE, actually, including the mayoral race. It was a big chant for Zoran Mamdani. But today, the cameras are set up. Actually, this could be Diddy. I take that back. Early morning, it's Diddy. By the afternoon, ICE. And all night long, nothing but ICE. There behind me is the Second Circuit, where all of this may soon be headed. We actually have a case waiting for a decision up there about unsealing the sentencing letters of Sebastian Greenwood of the OneCoin crypto fraud. But But I digress. Look behind. That is fully square. And hopefully the thread will begin today, just before 1 p.m. To be continued. Inner City Press.
Okay. I want to hear Megyn Kelly. Okay, good. See if we got some more tweets here, people. Okay, Gargo says, you propose Zero Bond or Casa Cipriani as 2 private clubs in New York, right? She said yes, but you ended up going to a lounge, right? She said yes. After you rejected a new entertainer for lack of chemistry, you called Cabral, right? She said yes. And you said that you were high that night and felt freer because you let Cabral do things you usually didn't. She said yes. Then you wrote to Mr. Combs, I love you so much. She says yes. So they're almost making it seem like this Cabral dude, she fucked him without Diddy. Because she heard Diddy was with Young Miami. Then when Diddy wanted to introduce someone, she said, I can't get along with this guy. Let me call up Cabral. Cabral comes through, knocks her down. He's doing things with her outside the norm. Oh, wow. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, her testimony's starting to stray a bit. Starting to stray, not gonna lie. Let me see.
Situations, or was she honestly enjoying it? I mean, as men, we know when a woman is enjoying being with us as opposed to like they're not really into us.
Yeah, so the answer to both questions is actually no. I didn't feel her that she was distressed in any way, but as much as my ego wants to say, yeah, she was feeling me, she was loving it or whatever, it was clear she's doing it for her man. But not from a point of, I never got, he's making me do it, right? I got, this is what he likes, this is what turns him on, I'm gonna hold my man down. And my vibe with her was so cool, I never saw it as, hey, look, I'm into this guy or not, but it's like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, this is the guy I'm comfortable with making this happen for. And you know, with all of the details coming out, I'm like, I'm tripping because I literally for all that time believed I was the only guy they were doing this with. Like I believed the story from day one. It was her birthday, they was trying something new, and now when they want to try this, I'm the go-to guy. And I was really walking around like to the few, because I didn't tell many people, but the few people I spoke to, I'm walking around like, yeah, you know, I'm Cassie's boy toy. You know, Diddy got all his girls. You know what I'm saying? Diddy got all his girls. But so I'm the guy that, yo, baby, you get a treat. And I'm the guy, like, I was just gassed for no reason, man. No reason.
Cassie talked about how,
my bad,
you know, these male escorts would urinate in her mouth.
Whoa.
Did you ever do that?
Nah, man. I mean, you know, what I described
You're missing out, brother.
was literally what it was every single time. You know, I heard some of the testimony too, and you know, I can honestly say I didn't experience anything past what they call vanilla sex.
Okay.
There was nothing like crazy about it.
And you and Diddy never had any words together, interactions, conversations, anything?
Bro, the crazy thing about it is we never had eye contact.
Huh.
The first time I had eye contact with him was walking out of the courtroom after my testimony.
Okay. When did it stop?
Around March of 2015.
Okay. And how long did it go by that point? That was like 3 years, I guess?
It started September of 2012 and then ended March of 2015.
And the total sessions was what, about 12 or so?
I'm estimating. I estimate 8 to 12. I don't know exactly. I was assuming the federal government was going to tell me because, man, that was the craziest process ever, man. Because when they contacted me, they had more information than I had.
Huh.
I didn't even remember. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so.
That's the feds, which kind of tells you if they had more info than he did, how much are they feeding him the info as opposed to trying to jog his memory? Okay. Let's get some more tweets. Garrigo says, you said that you were high that night and you felt free. You would let him do things you wouldn't normally let him do. Yes. You also wrote to Mr. Combs that you love him so much. Red, thank you for the 5. Okay. Check who? Okay, I'll do it in a second. You wrote to Mr. Combs, I love you so much. Jane says, I did. Garrigo says, you spoke about a sobriety party. You resented him for it, right? She said, yes. Garrigo says, you wanted to break up with him after you saw him with Gina, right? Jane says, there was so many times I wanted to break up with him. Interesting. Okay.
She would say that dudes would like bust on her chest, and then she would go to Diddy and rub cum on his nipples.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. Yeah.
You know what I said? When I heard that, I said, Puff can never win an argument with a man ever again. Because, you know, if y'all start arguing, all the guy has to say is, well, I didn't rub a dude's cum on my nipples.
Yeah. I was saying,
how do you
what he
respond
saying?
to that?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Over.
He got to go back to jail now. So I'm saying to myself, like, what is you saying to these dudes back here? How is you looking at them? You still Puff. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was crazy. That was from that. And then she said something about he would make her drink to come and then go kiss him and do stuff like that.
Wait, he did that?
Yeah, that's what they said. You know,
that's called, I know what that's called. It's called a snowball.
Is it?
Yeah, if a dude, this is like a porn term.
Yo, Vlad, how you know this, bro?
Like,
Okay.
Not the kind of porn I watch, mind you,
Okay.
but I've just heard about this before. It's like you know, like cuckold type porn.
Okay.
Like dudes would come in a girl's mouth and she would like not swallow, then go kiss the cuckold and kind of spit the cum in his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing. A cuckold thing.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Definitely not my thing.
Yeah, that's
definitely
crazy
not
right
my
there.
thing.
I'm
Nothing I've ever
I'm
even
trying to
considered
identify
doing.
with the nut on your nipples. What is that doing?
I don't know, man.
You know?
But here's the thing, right? And I've said this. With everyone taking the stand, these are people that were really around Puff. These are escorts. This is Cassie, you know, so forth and so forth.
Right.
You see all this stuff that's gay-ish, right? Rubbing a dude's cum on your nipples is
Right.
gay-ish. But no one has said, and then Puffy got head from a dude. Even the Punisher dude said, me and Puffy had no interactions.
Right.
Right? Cassie could easily said, yeah, then Diddy got his back blown out by one of the
Right.
escorts. Or, you know, whatever, the other way around.
Right.
Nobody has ever said this. Now, he could be doing those things with like a guy that no one knows about, but you're around all the time.
Right.
Do you think Puffy is gay or bisexual? Or do you think that he just likes this weird shit that kind of like dances around the line of it?
I mean, it depends on what you say bisexual is, because I'm definitely gonna say all that shit that she said is bisexual.
It's bisexual-ish. And
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, I just think it's different than actually doing something with the man,
So you asking me if I think he been penetrated or something?
or he's gotten head from a dude. Because there's been lawsuits that allege this.
Right.
But
right.
the thing is, though, right, and you know, because I try to be fair. You know, I'm
Right.
not just throwing anyone under the bus.
Right.
I remember I talked to a lawyer that was close to the situation.
Okay.
And what he said was interesting. He said, look, there's like 100 lawsuits against Puff. You don't think the feds look through every single lawsuit to
Right.
try to pull in, you know,
Right.
the people into this actual case? None of those lawsuits included people in this Fed case, which makes me think that a lot of those allegations are just nonsense
Right,
or just
right.
completely unprovable.
Right.
So everyone, it's a lot different to file a civil lawsuit than to actually take the stand, take the
Right.
oath, and then lie, and then potentially go thrown in jail for perjury.
Right.
Right. So, do you think that Puff was actually doing really gay stuff with a man, getting penetrated, getting head from a man? Like,
Myself, I don't think so, because it's like what you said. I think somebody would step
Somebody would've said
with everybody stepping up the way that they is now.
That's what I'm saying.
I believe somebody would say, even, and we all know, you know, and I love, you know, we all know the bisexual men, we all know the gay men love to scream and tell somebody, yeah, you think you all that, this is what happened.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying, for that not to happen, I don't think he was.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, I think he just is I can't even say he's a freak. He's more than a freak. You know what I'm saying? I think he's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, look, if someone tells me, like yourself, is rubbing cum on some other dude's cum on her nipples gay, I think it's gay. I'm not going to argue with you, say, no, that's not gay.
Right.
I'm just saying that there's different levels to this. And once you cross the line of actually doing things with the man themselves,
Right.
that to me is, okay, you're actually gay. You actually like physical, you know, intimacy with a male.
Right.
And I
right.
just feel like there's always been a woman involved. And like the Punisher said, he never did anything with Puff. Puff was just there in the corner.
Right.
You know?
And Cassie said a lot of the stuff that they did in another room. You know what I'm saying? That she would go in the other room. So I think that he didn't want the guy to see that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And this, that, and other. So I think it might have just been some type of free. I want my girl to do this, you know. We freak and we turn it out. Some people get
So the bodyguard never seen what he thought was just not straight gay stuff, but gay stuff. Garagos then asked, you're in the Equinox parking lot, you try to break up with Diddy, right? She said yes. Let me play your audio recording. This is an audio recording of Sean's voice saying, yo, we were both tripping. And Jane then sends a voice note says, pretty much, you're right. You're right. We need to pick each other up. So it looks like they're agreeing that whatever argument or fight was in the Equinox parking lot, it went too far. So I don't know. By the way, I'm kind of retracting and I'm rolling back what I've been saying. I kind of started out by saying that I think she's more credible than Cassie because I thought she had more actual facts that would go towards the actual charge of sex trafficking. The more this continues, I'm starting to think, maybe she's not a victim at all. Now, Cassie, I have the same feeling with, but Cassie was crying so much and she was detailing. Her story was so sad that I could see a juror feeling so sad for Cassie and saying, hey, look how pretty this girl is. It's no way she did this willingly. So I can see Cassie's story now flying more than Daphne Joy's story. Daphne's story seemingly is about money. It's about some jealousy. She wanted just equal treatment. She knew she was in a harem. Looked like he was telling her the truth for the most part. She just wanted equal treatment, okay? Equal compensation. She knew she was kind of doing sex work. Yo, put some money on my account. Exactly, right?
That's what I think. I have no idea.
I mean,
You know, but I mean, keep in mind, he's 55 years old. So 15 years, you getting out of 70, I don't think he would take that.
I mean, blowing trial is always a risk, you know?
Right.
It's always a risk, man. And jail, there's a difference between jail. Right now, he's in jail. MDC, that's jail. Rikers Island, that's jail. Nassau County, that's jail. Prison is, you know, Attica, Green, you know, that's prison, bro. You know what I mean? So it's a big difference, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to be in jail or prison because it's a whole nother world. Imagine what R. Kelly's doing. Remember a girl was singing, he was singing on the phone? Somebody's wife?
Yeah.
Like, that shit is crazy. It's shocking to your body. It'll age them fast. It's gonna hurt their body. The food is not the same. You're used to, your smallest closet or your smallest bathroom is not even the size of the cell.
Yeah.
It's shocking. So, you know, for me, I mean, I did little skid bits and I learned to stay out of trouble, you know? Nobody want to be in the can eating that food, hearing motherfuckers' war stories. This motherfucker broke up with his girl and, you know, pray for Tory. Hopefully he do get better. You know, I don't choose sides with him and Megan shit. Motherfucker got stabbed up. That's terrible. You know what I mean? 14 times. But that's what happens in prison. That's what happens in jail. That's why I tell my young niggas, yo, stay out of jail, man. Stay off that island. You don't want to be on Rikers Island in the summertime. You don't want to be on Rikers Island in the wintertime. Springtime, every season fucked up on Rikers. One of my little guys from the hood, young dude. You know, he's young. Went to jail, back. He facing the 7 to 15. He tell me, I wanted to cry for him. Yo, yay, I'm facing 7 to 15. I said, he said this time he tricked himself off the streets. So when you do, when you look at that situation with Diddy, you got all that money, a motherfucker that's, because there's more people that don't got it than got it. I say that all the time. You know what I'm saying? They gonna look at like, man, Diddy, you tricked yourself off the streets. Got 500 million, man. Listen, man, go find a wife, or if you want a wife or two, that's on you. Go find a wife and just chill, lay back, stay out of trouble. Don't have the wild parties at the crib, cause you know lawsuits is coming.
I think easier said than done, Chad. Easier said than done. You know, I think a lot of people feel like when you don't have money, you think, what I would do to get money, I wouldn't do anything to jeopardize and lose it. Except when you get money, now it becomes thrill and pleasure seeking because the idea of having money is now normal. The same mentality it takes to get money is the same mentality it usually takes to lose the money. The same drive and determination gets it. It's like gambling. A crazy gambler will tell you, yo, I won $2 million. You're like, damn, how'd you win $2 million? But it takes the same person that has because here's the thing. Some people, they win $20, they're out. For a nigga to win $2 million, he has a certain mindset. The same mindset you take to win $2 million is the same mindset that you have when you lost $4 million. So when you say, oh, he should just get his money and just stay out the way, Diddy was somebody who was always wanting more. He wanted more. I always keep bringing up this clip. This clip when he gets off the phone. He has a clip. He's like, I'm a monster. I get what I want. Where is it at? Is it at?
I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
Now, I propose to y'all, the same mindset that takes Diddy to get what he got. Because it's always cool when everybody's like, well, if I ever had Diddy money, I would never do those sex parties. The mindset that it takes to be a billionaire is the same mindset that when you acquire it will probably also cause the pitfalls from what you just got. So Diddy's mentality was, whatever I want, I have to get. He gets $1 billion. A bad bitch is really like, you might look at a girl profile, I want her. She started fucking with you, you got her. 2 years into the relationship, I got her already. Fuck it. Your eyes desire something else. The point is, Diddy got the $1 billion already. That fire never dies. He feels whatever he wants he could get. That might manifest into a woman. That might manifest into a sexual situation. That might manifest into control. That's why he's in this predicament. But to say he got success and then start thinking different and fucked it up, no. The same mentality that got him success got him to where he's at now. A man who wouldn't take no for an answer. A man who was cunning, manipulative. A man who would buy his way. Don't worry if I write rhymes, I write checks. A man who would use money as a placebo, money as a Band-Aid. A man who would do anything by any means necessary. A man who was living life on Literally the edge, taking the most ultimate chances. That's what got him his billion. That's what got him here as well.
Yes! What's next? What's next? I gotta get it. I'm not gonna stay fucking down. I'm not gonna stay fucking lying down. I'm not. I can't do that, man. I can't do that. What's next? Give me something else. What can't you do? I can do it. I can do anything. I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get! Yes! I am the fucking hardest hustler in the world! This is Savage Part 2! Don't tell me about shit! It's 2022 and I'm still a savage! Whatever I want, I get! Whatever I want, I fucking get!
Same person.
Kick in the door.
You think I could book that for like the weekend of the 14th when the soundtrack comes out?
But there's a clip of Diddy when he was like,
I got my MTV out.
Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get! Yes! What's next? What's next? I gotta get else. What can't you do? I can do it. I can do anything.
what the hell's wrong with this dude, man? He needs to calm down. I think that whole mentality got to his head where
I agree.
he got so like out of control that he just started doing.
Puff came back downstairs, he was heated. He said, yo, Gene, I got 126 employees, and these people depend on me for their livelihoods. If these white folks...
Jordan Jane, think of the 20, says, yo, Fifth, did Jane tell you the same things? What do you mean? What do you mean? Thank you for that donation, by the way. Let's get some more tweets in here. Garrigo says, no entertainers that night. So they're talking about the night after the Equinox parking lot where they were arguing and she was trying to break up with him. And they were both tripping. And then they both admitted, yo, we're both tripping. She said, we need to pick each other up, not put each other down. Garrigo says, did y'all have entertainers that night? She said, nah. Right? And Garrigo says, but it was after that video in the Cassie lawsuit that became public. Right? She says, yes. Before that, would Combs write Cassie love letters while with you? She says, I'm not sure. Oh, I do remember. And it gets adjourned. So look like Diddy would write Cassie love letters in 2020. Ooh, that's a good tie-in. Diddy, after Cassie now has kids. Let me see, when did Cassie have kids? When did Cassie have children? They welcomed their first child in 2019. The second daughter, Sonny, was born in 2021. Diddy dated this woman from 2021 to 2024. So even after she was married and had 2 kids, Diddy was still thinking about Cassie. Cassie was a down-ass B. He was writing love letters to her. We don't know if she ever wrote him back. But would Mr. Combs write Cassie love letters while he was with you? She said, I'm not sure. Oh, I remember. He did. The judge says, I understand Ms. Garrigos will finish tomorrow morning. Who will be the next government witness? It's going to be Andre Lamaze and Jonathan Perez. Then our first summary witness, Miss Sankar. When will you rest? Next Friday, or maybe even Wednesday. So the government plans to rest next week Friday or next week Wednesday. What does that mean? I anticipate Diddy is going to put up a defense for the ages. Got to put up a defense for the ages. Gina Hugh, it's time for you to clock in. That's your man. You want to be here after all these chicks done sold out Diddy? It's your time. Young Miami, you want that next Maybach? You want another show? Might not be on Revolt, but you want to get, Carisha, please. 2.0. This your time to get on there and be like, I was with Diddy. I knew about these hoes. These hoes, they were just jealous. Diddy never beat my ass. Diddy just always had fun with me. He gave me money. He treated me nice. Diddy's that guy. Was he off some drugs? Of course he was off drugs. Did he force me to take drugs? Hell fucking no. I took drugs willingly. I know what he represented. When I hung out with Diddy, I got down with a get down. That's his opportunity to present his case. Remember, this is how it works in court. It's not civil court. In civil court, you need the preponderance. The preponderance of guilt, which means if the 51%, if you think 51% is likely that the person did it, you could vote that the person did it. In a criminal case, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. You have to believe that this person did it. You have no doubt in your mind. The government goes first. Then, so both do openings. Government goes first. Then the defense has a chance to present their case. Sometimes they do such a good job against the government while playing defense, they don't even need to present a case. But still, you should throw some people up there to make sure, could testify to something opposite. You want to try, don't leave no stones unturned. Then we're going to get closing arguments, and then it's going to go to the jury. So if we are looking at this calendar correctly, and they say next Friday, let me look at my calendar. Next Friday is the 20th. Next Friday is the 20th. Next Friday is the 20th. I anticipate that Diddy's team will take at least a week. At least a week. At least a week. So until the 27th, to at least present a case. We might see these bodyguards finally testify. Look like the bodyguards are holding it down for Diddy. All of the personal assistants folded on Diddy. But Diddy's bodyguards, we ain't see one take the stand yet. They might come in and say, hey, Diddy did beat some of these bitches' ass. We broke up fights, but we broke it up in both ways. I broke up mad fights when Cassie was choking Diddy out and Diddy had a black eye before he had to get on stage, and she hit Diddy with not a frying pan, but a crock pot. She hit that nigga with a crock pot. This was a mutual toxic relationship. Diddy told me mad times, get this bitch out of here. He was trying to get her to leave, not try to keep her to stay. So that's what I think Diddy's case or his defense could be. So if we're doing a timeline here, I say 1 week. 1 week for Diddy's defense. So we're going to the 27th at that point. So we're going to the 27th. And if we're at the 27th, let's say they go to the jury, which I don't think. I think they're going to do opening and closing statements on either the 27th or the 30th. That's a Friday and a Monday. Then I think we're going to get to the jury. And I think the jury is going to deliberate for 2 days. And I think we're going to get a jury verdict on the 3rd. Why? If they don't give it on that 3rd, 4th is July 4th, which means they're going to have to come back in the 7th and possibly do it the 7th or the 8th. I think a verdict today will be coming on July 2nd or the 3rd. I think it's going to go to the jury by the 30th or the 1st. They're going to deliberate for a day or two. I can't see them. By the way, I think it helps Diddy if they go longer than a day or two. What? If it goes longer than a day or two and they're deliberating for 4, 5, 6 days, if that is the case, I think it helps Diddy. It might be a hung jury. It's definitely going to be a split verdict. But it helps Diddy because there's a lot of arguments happening up in that jury box, that deliberation room. So I think if we get a verdict after July 4th, granted they rest on the 27th, I think it's in Diddy's favor. If we get a quick verdict, Diddy might as well roll up his bed, pack it up. He gonna be in federal prison for a long, long time. If we get a same-day verdict, Diddy's cooked, I think. That's my amateur thought. I think he's cooked. Quick verdict, cooked. The prosecutor in this case has thrown out too much for the jury to analyze. They're probably going to have to ask the judge a few times for added definitions for the charges that they are going to be voting on or deciding on. They're going to probably say, hey, we need to see that exhibit again. Hey, that was passed around as a binder. We didn't see it. We need to reflect on it to continue it in our debates and discussion. Let's see that again. These are the things that are going to lengthen the process of the jury deliberation. If they come to a verdict immediately, it's more than likely they're going to say Diddy is guilty as charged. So we're looking at July 4th. We're looking at July 4th as the date that we will see. It's going to be right before, right after. We'll see the fate of P. Diddy, a.k.a. Sean Combs, a.k.a. Brother Love. I think Tenny's doing a good job. By the way, the judge says Mr. Agnifilo. So the judge is asking, okay, they're saying they're going to be done with their case by the next week, Friday. How long is it going to take to make your case? Mark says, we'll know more when they tell us which witnesses they're cutting. I think they're still on the schedule. AUSA says, we want 26.2 material as soon as we rest. 26.2 material, we could Google it here. Court. So you got to produce any after witness other than the defendant has testified on direct. Okay. The court, on motion of a party who didn't call a witness, must order an attorney or the defendant to produce for examination of the moving party any statement that is in their possession that relates to the subject matter. So basically, whether they're going to call one of the prosecution witnesses as their witness or they're going to call their own witnesses as their witness, they got to give all the statements that person gave to them, and that's called 26.2 material. Okay, we learn something new every day, chap. AUSA says, we think they've opened the door to Jane's prior consistent. We think they've opened the door to Jane's prior consistent statements. Her notes before 2024, November, when she got immunity for her grand jury testimony. Driscoll says, they are not prior consistent. Never mind. Oh, that's the AUSA that said that. We think they've opened the door to Jane's prior consistent statements, her notes before November 24, when she got immunity for her grand jury testimony. Driscoll says they're not prior consistent statements. Interesting. Oh. Lauren Conlon finna go live. Okay. Okay, Lauren Conlon. Give me 1 second. Now, this is what we kind of missed yesterday too.
Over her head, right? Financial control. I'm controlling you. You have to do what I want. There was a back and forth today about whether, in fact, he was actually threatening to withhold rent, right? And if he was, that could help the prosecution's case to say, Oh, he's using that to get what he wants. Was that clarified today?
So yeah, at first, you know, the defense was really kind of talking about the positives of the relationship with Diddy, and that Diddy gave Jane confidence, that he showed her a different perspective and introduced her to gospel, and they would put gospel sermons on television. They would send gospel sermons to one another, and that I felt like the defense was kind of trying to point out just that Diddy's kind of more gospel side as opposed to the other stuff that we're listening to in court. And then they kind of got into the businesses that Jane had for herself, where Jane was explaining that she has a swimwear line, she has a dress line, she has other businesses, but that Diddy also invested in her businesses. $20,000 he put into her dress line on top of the other funds that he was paying for her, including her rent later on, including just other aspects, and on top of that, gifts that she was getting. And so Jane was explaining that she has kind of this minimal style dress line, and Tinny Garagos was like, so you went from content creation to apparel? And Jane was like, well, the apparel needed a lot out of me, and I was doing a lot with Sean Combs around this time. Tinny Garagos is like, well, how much did you make from your influencer creation? And Jane was like, well, if I book 2 brands, that would be $50,000, which in influencer terms, maybe it's not a lot of money. To me, it's an extremely amount of money just to kind of post content for 2 different brands, and whether that be photos or videos or that type of stuff. It seemed like the defense was kind of like, okay, well, you can make $50,000 in this particular instance. And according to your testimony where you're saying Diddy's paying, you know, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing here, the defense didn't really get into it, but I'm thinking in terms of if she's getting $10,000 for her rent alone, this $50,000 from a brand deal would pretty much pay 5 months of rent. And so then Tinny Garagos is like, well, you're also getting child support, right? And Jane was like, yeah, $5,700. And it seemed like, yeah, the defense was definitely pointing out she's making other income as far as brand deals, as far as child support goes, that she really didn't need the financial payments that she was getting from Sean Combs. And then they kind of got into her OnlyFans page where Jane was saying that Diddy didn't want her to be a part of something that was frowned upon because of the stigma that comes with OnlyFans. And Jane was saying that she joined the website because she needed the money. She needed it financially. During her direct testimony, she was explaining that she maxed out a few credit cards because she went into so much debt. And I think the defense was kind of like, okay, but you're making all of this money. Are you spending it frivolously? Are you living within your means? And then Jane, you know, after saying that she joined the website because she needed the money.
Again, there's this constant back and forth bickering. Is this woman in financial despair, or is she just sucking cock to live a luxurious lifestyle?
Money financially, the defense kind of pointed out that Diddy was proud that she joined OnlyFans, and that she was proud that she was making her own money because OnlyFans was a pretty lucrative business, and still to some influencers or creators on that app still is a lucrative business. And so Tinny Garagos is like, well, you didn't need his permission or approval, and Jane was explaining that she wanted his approval. And I think that kind of makes the difference a little bit sometimes too, Jesse, between the difference of Cassie's testimony versus Jane's testimony, where Jane kind of, while she's on the stand, seems like she really just wanted Diddy's approval over just every aspect of her life, whereas under Cassie's testimony, it seemed like the approval that she had to get kind of put her kind of in a stranglehold, in a sense, where she felt like she had to get or she felt like Combs wouldn't do anything without the approval, whereas Jane was like, well, I need his approval to do these things. And the defense was kind of like, well, did you need the approval? But I think the defense kind of did a good job here, really kind of being like, okay, there's a lot of money just kind of floating around from all these other deals and lines and apparel that you have, but you needed this money from Combs because...
Yeah, it's all about control. It's all about control. The more that the prosecution can establish that he was controlling their financial livelihood, their appearance, whether or not they were seeing other people, that goes to the idea of fraud or coercion, maybe even force for sex trafficking. And it's kind of a gray area now. And speaking of that, because the defense has been very keen to characterize these relationships not as one of a sex trafficker and victim, but these are toxic relationships built on love and jealousy and anger. And you put aside the idea of freak-offs and hotel nights, which everybody might not be familiar with or engage in anything like that, that these are common elements, and maybe even violent elements that are unfortunate, but common elements we see in relationships. And the jealousy aspect of it came up a lot, right? The jealousy that she might have been upset or reluctant to engage in these hotel nights, not because she was a victim of sex trafficking, but wasn't it that, I don't want to be a part of this if you're seeing somebody else on the side, or I'm not being treated like other girls other girls, right? I mean, didn't that come up? Jealousy was a big factor in the cross-examination?
Yeah, it took up a pretty good chunk of the cross-exam this morning. And so while Jane was testifying under direct, she did testify that Diddy kind of explained that the two had an open relationship and that she was fine initially with him seeing other women. But then Jane, while under cross-examination, was saying that Diddy described himself as polyamorous, and that she said at first it was something that I didn't mind, but then as feelings grew pretty deeper, that she said it was hard for me, the imbalance of just the treatment. And so Jane was saying that she didn't say the nicest things about the other women that Diddy was seeing, that she had called them hoes and just other just not so nice things, and that she admitted she was jealous. They brought up one particular relationship, and that was with Carisha, aka Young Miami, where Jane was explaining that Young Miami bothered her because Diddy was so public with her. And we even think back to around that time frame, which it was pretty true. I thought that, honestly, Young Miami and Diddy were in a monogamous relationship together. They were always together. He had come onto her podcast, and then he took her to the Met Gala, and the two seemed like they were in a really loving relationship. But according to Jane, she was kind of in the shadows around this time period. And so she was saying that Diddy was so public with Young Miami, and it made it seem like the two, those being Young Miami and Diddy, were monogamous together. And she said, I didn't sign up to be in a relationship with someone who was public with someone else. And so she said that Diddy gave Carisha a Maybach, which is a very, very, very expensive car. And Jane said that she wanted something nice as well. And then the defense was kind of,
you ain't giving Maybach head?
Like, okay, well, you were jealous of Diddy and his other women, but Diddy was kind of jealous of you too. And the defense brought up Bear, and that's the man who Jane had met previously, but after she and Diddy had like an off period, Bear sent Jane $9,000, and that Diddy was pretty upset about it and was jealous about it. And so it seemed like, just like Cassie's testimony, there was jealousy aspects in their relationship. They brought up Gina also in Jane's testimony too. And so it seemed like there was kind of like a little trickle effect of just, the bottom line being that Diddy was seeing other women. Maybe when he was with Cassie, wasn't telling her that he was seeing other women, but he told Jane specifically he was seeing other women. And so it seemed like that was kind of a big point as far as Jane was concerned, as far as why was she having to go out and book the entertainers and do these hotel nights when he's over doing other things and social media with another woman that he was seeing. And on top of just Young Miami, there were other women that were listed too that Diddy was seeing all around the same time.
Prosecution could say, this is an example of his manipulation. He was leading these women on to get what he wanted. The defense could say he's a cheater, right? Doesn't make him a sex trafficker. They also focused on Combs' drug use.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell if the defense was trying to excuse some of his behavior or offer, I wouldn't even say a defense, but they did put an emphasis on what he was going through, right? Or seemingly going through. And that came up, by the way, during the whole 2016 Cassie purported beating, right? He was messed up. He was on drugs. In his apology video, he said that. Didn't they talk about his drug use today too, under cross?
Yeah, and the drug use kind of was brought up at various different points during Jane's cross-examination today, but it did start this morning where Jane was saying that she knew that Diddy was consuming drugs, but didn't really, I guess, recognize or realize the quantity and the amount of drugs that he was consuming when the two initially got together. And Jane was saying, I could tell that he wasn't taking care of himself. I thought he had jaundice in his eyes, his gums were gray, his hands were shaky, and that Jane was the one who suggested that Diddy go to rehab. And then Tinny was like, okay, you felt at the beginning that he was a drug addict. And Jane said, well, I felt like he was overdoing the partying. And Jane says now in 2025, she does believe that Diddy is a drug addict. And then later on, they're kind of talking about that she found out later on that he was taking antidepressants, specifically Prozac and other medications, and that Diddy at one point mentioned to Jane about doing kind of a ketamine therapy treatment. And so then they kind of touched more into the drugs, where Jane says that she admits if there were drugs that she didn't like, she didn't particularly take them. And those specific drugs that she didn't really like were ketamine and cocaine, but she did like ecstasy, and she was totally fine taking MDMA or Molly, and she was fine to take the ecstasy because she says that she kind of wanted to do it in order to be more sexually kind of flirtatious with the other men during these hotel nights. And she said, it got me out of my wine. I could focus on the sexual moment. And so I think as far as the drugs is concerned, it seemed like there are one points where they're kind of like, okay, well, did he use these drugs to be creative? He was in a better mood when he was on those drugs, specifically when he would take ecstasy, and he would do this while he was also making music, that it wasn't specifically only to hotel nights. But then there were other parts of the testimony where it seemed like they were kind of using the drugs to be like, okay, well, you see that Diddy has a problem too, right? And so it kind of went both ways as far as I think where the defense was going. And so depending on which juror it is, or depending on the group altogether, I feel like it could go either way on just what their thoughts are on as far as drug addiction, drug treatment, and whether or not these were taken recreationally or versus he had a problem. And so it really kind of was a little both that we were hearing about today.
While they want to avoid the prosecution's narrative, which the prosecution's narrative is he deliberately drugged women in order to take advantage of them and make them more compliant for freak-offs or hotel nights. So the more they can get away from that narrative that drugs were used nefariously for that purpose, I think that's what they're trying to do. Let's go to the racketeering. So the more you can talk about assistants or staff or bodyguards that helped facilitate these, if the jury accepts it, sex trafficking crime scenes, hotel nights, freak-offs, the more you can show his inner circle was committing crimes or covering them up, that's how you get to racketeering. That's how you get to a criminal enterprise. That's how you get to a criminal association. My understanding is Jane was asked a lot about Combs' assistants and what they knew about what was going on. And more specifically, she was asked about a very familiar name, somebody who I believe is going to have to take the stand. She's come up, I think, in every single person's testimony. Sean Combs' purported former chief of staff, Christina Coram. So what did Jane have to say today? What was she questioned about regarding Sean Combs' assistants, their knowledge about what was going on, and Christina Coram?
Well, I thought one thing that was interesting that was revealed during Jane's testimony is that Diddy didn't want these entertainers or these escorts, these other men that they were using during these debauchery nights, Wild King nights, hotel nights, over to his home. Why? Because there was a lot of staffers over there. He had a house manager, he had other assistants kind of running around. And so despite kind of what the government is alleging, where these assistants really helped set up these hotel rooms and these hotel nights specifically, that in some aspects that some of them may not have known that this.
That's a good point. It's like, well, y'all are trying to prove Rico that he was using all his staff and blah, 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 blah. But remember, Rico is a conspiracy charge, right? Conspiracy requires you to have tacit knowledge of the crime being committed and some type of indication of your complicit partaking in that crime. If Diddy was going out of his way saying, I'll go get you an apartment, that we could do it there, that they don't got to know about this shit, kind of shows that it's not Rico. It looks like a dude who is trying to selectively use his resources to get what he wants, but not necessarily a racketeering organization that was conducting criminal acts.
Was even going on. I think that's where the cross-examination was really kind of pointing to. But Christina Coram was brought up kind of a couple of times. And to your point, Jesse, I feel like there hasn't been a day where she's not brought up in some aspects. So I do kind of hope she testifies. It would be kind of weird, I feel like, if she didn't testify at this point. But the jurors were able to see some text exhibits. Unfortunately, I was just kind of hearing it as they were going and talking about this. But they saw a specific text exhibit between Jane and Christina Coram, where this is from April 9th of 2021, so kind of early-ish in their relationship, that being between Jane and Diddy. And Jane told Christina, hey, we got papped, and papped means paparazzi. And she texted Christina that I'm shaking because Jane didn't want everyone to know about their relationship at this point. She was worried that these photos would get out into the blogs and there might be other questions that come up after this. And so she's saying she didn't want her relationship to be public. and that for people to know that they were in a relationship. And Christina responded, well, I showed him those particular paparazzi photos. There are other people in this picture, so don't worry about it. And so Jane said that she was worried about her child's father finding out, but she was also worried about her friend finding out. And that was the friend that kind of introduced them really together, as far as when she had first started seeing Diddy, that she was actually over at his place with the friend that was actually seeing him, and she didn't want this friend to know that Diddy and her were in a relationship. And so then there were other times where Christina Coram was brought up, and so that was when we heard about these text exhibits, specifically between Jane and Christina Coram from December 2nd of 2021. And I think this is where the part gets a little dicey as far as possibly count one goes, where they're discussing flight options and how Jane was flying a package with, or had a package with her, and that was, drugs that she had packed into her checked baggage to give to Diddy because Diddy was asking her to do it, and how Christina Coram was like, okay, I've done this before. But I think the defense was kind of like, well, why did you ask KK if this was right or wrong? Because flying with a lot of drugs, obviously we know, is a federal crime. And so Jane is like, well, because Sean told me to pick this up. Sean told me to pick up this package for him. And Jane was saying that she wasn't particularly even close to Christina, that Christina didn't really like her. And the defense points out, okay, well, why would Christina hide drugs in her luggage if she was always one to be flying on Diddy's private plane? Because, again, Diddy's a very rich man. He flies private. So why would she have to check packages of drugs into a checked bag when she's going on a private jet in the first place? And so then Jane is explaining that Christina Coram had very strong opinions about her, and she felt like that was part of the reason why Diddy kind of felt some ways about Jane during specific aspects of their relationship. But in terms of just the other staffers, to the point I was making earlier, Jane was saying that the staff didn't see Diddy particularly with these entertainers or these escorts, and that they ended up just kind of showing up with the money. And I think that also kind of may go into the government's view of the case as far as count one, where the assistants would kind of bring money. But according to Jane, it felt like, okay, maybe the assistants didn't know why they were bringing large amounts of money, or maybe they could read between the lines. But that Jane was also explaining that Christina Coram might not have known about the escorts too, which I kind of find that hard to believe just a little bit. But according to Jane, it seemed like the staff may not have been 100% in the know of what was really going on at these hotel nights. But it seemed like from the staff, maybe they did know a little bit about it. But
all right, we can't get too Diddy'd out. By the way, chat, y'all know I just got off a plane, rush right here, dealt with my dogs, and I'm on anyway. So y'all got to give me a little grace today. Got to give me a little grace. Hey, I didn't want to, we also got to get some other topics in there, because that's just how it goes. I did see, after I did my whole Rock Nation spiel, the Joe Budden podcast reacted to it. And I'll tell you what they said, and I'll react to what they said. If you don't know, I literally said, as about Rock Nation, I'm tired of people telling me I should talk about it. I feel like I'm talking about it, but I feel like people are almost telling me to go sacrifice myself. I personally believe that the majority of media, they're either friends with these motherfuckers or they scared of them and they won't talk about them. So please, don't have me be the sacrificial lamb. Apply the pressure to everybody else. Okay? Now, I told you the reason why I'm like this enigma in media, with all due respect, I just seen Wayno. Shout out to Wayno. Wayno was on Everyday Struggle with me for a couple years. Wayno used to work was an intern for Rockefeller. Feel me? Joe was basically damn near with all this Def Jam shit. His allegiance to Hove is very different. Charlemagne, he got fired by Jay-Z. Jay-Z done put belt to ass on everybody that we could talk about it. There's not, and Elliot Wilson, shit, he might as well be come on, we know, right? You can't name a media nigga besides me that don't, Jay-Z's I've never talked to him. I don't want to talk to him. I don't care to talk to him. But also, I do know his power. I don't want to go at him. So, when y'all be talking to Rock Nation shit, I'm just apply the pressure on everybody else, too. Because I feel like I'd be the only one, and y'all trying to get me to sacrifice myself. I ain't never been no martyr. Niggas don't like me anyway, so why would I die for y'all? You know what I mean? So, it just is what it is. I don't know how long this is. Pause. Let me see. I just want to react to what they were saying. Rock Nation. Oh, here we go. Wait, that's it? Nobody else? All right. So they put it here. The Joe Budden podcast, they're reacting. Let me see. Let's get their reaction and shit. Is it this? No. Saying that. Here we go. I'm going to react to this, you know.
Afraid to speak on Rock Nation and the things that's talked about that's going surrounding it. What is your outlook on that? As far as speaking on things, do you reserve?
They said that. Nigga, Akademiks said that.
And some other people.
It's a lot of people.
What are we talking about?
It's not just
It's a lot of people. So I want to know, because you're my man, so I'm down. I'm on the same type of time you on. So, meaning that I don't speak on shit if I have a relationship. Me, I can identify. If I have a relationship with somebody, I'm not speaking on it because I don't want to. Right. Regardless of how egregious it may come off, I'm not going to speak on it because I respect my relationships.
Mm-hmm. So, like, if there was like a festival where things didn't go perfectly, you wouldn't like bomb shit on.
I'm gonna fuck you up. Okay?
No, I wouldn't do, but I want to know when people say that towards you.
That's good for you though.
As you being the guy. Tickets to the Tone Deaf Girl. Yeah, you try to distract me. As you being.
I'm not. Let me try to. I saw Axe say that. I didn't see nobody else.
There's a couple people. A lot of people say.
People followed, like, responded to that by saying, "Yeah,
Joe gaslighting Joe. I only responded because niggas on Twitter it was the loudest thing on Twitter that I felt that I wanted to wait for y'all, and I, you know, we might be doing separate things, but we all are in this bubble of hip hop media, so there's some things I don't cover that I know y'all gonna cover, and sometimes y'all do a better job at covering certain stuff, and I do a better job covering certain stuff. We're all in the same bubble, so when this came up, I wanted to fall back. I wanted to see how y'all gonna treat it. Because this was a very loud thing on the Twitters, the Instagrams, and yeah, I was maybe Joe. You know, the Joe I know is tapped in, but if he says he ain't tapped in no more, okay.
There were specific topics that they feel like we avoided.
Yes.
Rock Nation.
And I just want to hear from you how you look at that, Joe.
It's a good question. You know, maybe I'd be far removed from shit. My brain be so different from what the internet is saying.
We don't know.
In my brain,
shut up.
I was about to. I'm your cheerleader, motherfucker.
I'm talking to them.
Oh, okay. I'm your cheerleader.
What I'm saying is the Desiree story broke while we were still recording. To me,
yes,
that's
true.
That story. But there has been what is the other Rock Nation story?
Okay. Hey, listen. Y'all need like a fact check guy. You need like a nerdy guy on the Joe Budden podcast. I'm not trying to tell y'all to run y'all podcast, but y'all should have a nerdy guy who is very up on everything. An academics type of guy. A guy who is on everything posted. Because I can't tell if y'all gaslighting or y'all really don't know. So and I know Ice is a guy, he consumes a lot on the internet. Ice, I know you're gonna watch this clip. Let me give you the bullet points of the Rock Nation saga. Rock Nation has been accused multiple times over the years, more than any other label in current times, of torturous interference, bullying, using legal tactics to silence people who criticize them, who criticize artists that are in their interests. And I'll give you some examples right now. This is all you have to tell Joe. 1, Uzi went through a whole rebellion against his label because Rock Nation, allegedly, was trying to sign him and get him to leave Generation Now. Don't believe me? Go listen to motherfucking DJ Drama, Lake Sheezy, Don Cannon. The whole beef there, they got inside his ear. They started saying shit. Meg Thee Stallion, 1501. They wanted Meg Thee Stallion. Meg Thee Stallion was signed to 300 through a joint venture with 1501. She was signed to 1501. They tried to get her out of that situation by saying she dropped projects that they claimed that they didn't approve, that didn't fulfill the contract, and they wanted to sign her. They were managing her. Bobby Shmurda's career, ultimately, I'm telling you things, and I love Joe, but Joe is so good at like being green and then being all the way in tune. What I'm saying, it would take 2 seconds for him to find out the thing. Rock Nation is behind Bobby Shmurda not being a thing anymore. I'm telling you this. This is the third thing I'm telling you. Bobby Shmurda was getting out of jail. By the way, Epic fucked up. They didn't support him at first. When Bobby was getting out of jail, Rock Nation started approaching Epic Records saying, we are going to be signing Bobby. They wanted Bobby Shmurda. Epic said, no, we still have a contract with him. They started managing Bobby. Do you notice a pattern? They start managing an artist, Uzi, Meg Thee Stallion, Bobby. They don't own the person's label rights, but they try to finagle it. That's called tortious interference. You know these people are in contracts, but you're trying to rip them out of the contract. What does the other people do? Oftentimes they sink their career. Why? I'm not going to put all my marketing dollars and blow you up that you walk over to Rock Nation. This is why Meg Thee Stallion shit got slow for a slight minute, other than the Tory stuff. This is why Bobby shit got deaded. And this is why Uzi, it helped him because it built hype. But he went through that phase where he was cussing out DJ Drama and them. I've told you 3 artists now. 3 artists, Rock Nation. Okay? Now we could get into the Tory Lanez thing. Tory Lanez was accused of shooting Meg Thee Stallion. Meg Thee Stallion was a victim in the case. She testified. It was noted by several people, including Megan Cuniff, that Rock Nation's CEO, Desiree Perez, was sitting there with the prosecutors. Do you hear what I'm saying? The Rock Nation CEO is sitting with the prosecutors when Meg ain't even there, conferring. Tory gets 10 years in jail. Anybody who speaks up, questioning the verdict, questioning the sentence, Rock Nation's lawyers, Alex Spiro and the rest, attacked them. I'm bringing up a 5th situation. Milagro is being sued for quote-unquote defamation and whatever because she has a POV about what she felt happened that night. It doesn't go with the Rock Nation plan for Meg Thee Stallion. They know it's Big Bang take Lil Bang. I don't think Milagro has a lawyer at this point. Rock Nation has millions. It's called bullying, strong arm. I'm just saying, when y'all act like Rock Nation ain't nothing, it's like, is everybody eyes open? They're single-handedly bullying independent media, artists, and independent label companies. But I'm not done. I'm at 5 or 6. Let's keep going. Her own daughter admits in this new civil suit of how she uses her power, influence, manipulation to even make her get Baker acted, which she now contends was illegal. We're at 6 or 7. Her own daughter's on this list. But that's not it. By the way, Rock Nation is listed as a defendant in that lawsuit. That's not it. There is people who were trying to report on this. Independent bloggers, YouTubers, 100,000 subscriber YouTube channels. These people got their channels and videos taken down in a way that is not consistent with the law. Copyright infringement because it used a photo of Desiree Perez. That's not legal. If someone runs an article about me or does a video about me and uses a picture of my face, and I don't want the video out and I use copyright infringement with my heavy law team to take it down to intimidate them saying, hey, I could get your livelihood taken away. That's not above board. That's called censorship. They've been accused of hacking people it's like to sit here and act like what's the Rock Nation thing is like retarded. There's a million things to talk about Rock Nation. But I have learned to digress. Now, I'll let you guys keep going because it seems like you need a couple examples. Ice, I'm going to leave it to you because I know you watch everything. But write down and jot down the points I just said. I gave about 7 or 8. I got about 7 or 8 more. I got 7 or 8 more. Just scummy plays, scummy moves that culturally that we would associate with a white organization that didn't give a fuck about what Jay-Z claims he cares about, which is culture, art, expression, freedom, and ownership. Doesn't care about that. But we can't have these conversations because Rock Nation is bullying people. So this is where it becomes incumbent. They haven't sued me. I do think if they were going to sue me, they know it's going to be a knock him down, drag him out style fight. I seen when they sued Milagro. I think they said if we're going to get at Ack, we know how he going to play it. It's going to be nasty. He don't seem that, dug in. Milagro's a little bit extra dug in. I get that. But they ain't sue me. If we don't speak up, those smaller creators get done exactly like how all the companies that do the other creators that we consider those companies white and they're doing X, Y, and Z to us, we get it done to us by Rock Nation. That's my only point. I'll keep it going.
That people have run from up here quickly because we want to advance this.
There's been talks of Tory and other stuff like that. The shit that Desiree herself
that can't possibly apply to this podcast.
No, because he told you that's what I'm saying. That part.
That's what I'm saying. That cannot possibly apply to this broadcast.
But I think you speak of it I don't. But I think what they're saying is that you don't identify that Rock Nation may be playing a role in why Tory Lanez in jail. That's the angle that they're taking. You never,
sir. It's not only about Tory Lanez, and Tory would be probably the least. Tory would probably be the least of the examples. There's much more examples. If you want, again, I named a bunch because it seemed like people were thinking that Rock Nation, they move pretty covertly.
never say that. You just say you're free Tory. I said it, but you never say I can see Rock Nation playing a part. You never.
Well, one, I don't have no proof of that.
True,
and it's bonkers. Just my take. I'm speaking for myself.
Got it.
I'm won't.
With all due respect, Mr. Mark Lamont Hill, your cachet and repertoire and reach within rap music is not similar to the reach that you have in maybe politics and of the sort. I would talk circles around you if we had to talk about actual rap business, music business. You see, one thing, and I know the JDP podcast recently, like I see their audience, they're sopping this guy up. They love him. You know why? He could actually make a coherent argument at times. He doesn't know rap music business. Joe does. Joe knows what happens in them buildings. So when he says, I don't believe it, nobody cares what you think. You're not talking to people in them buildings.
Won't go that far. I don't think it's bonkers, but I don't have any proof of it. One, and two, that's Hove's company, and I do have a certain respect for him.
Thank you. And let me tell you this. I let Joe off the hook when he says this. We're all entitled. This is all our own platforms we built on our own backs. And I understand, and I hope you guys understand this. When someone has a relationship with someone, I think they do reserve the right to say, I ain't talking about that shit. I wholeheartedly believe it. Even if you're unbiased. Nah, it's my man's. I'm not talking about that. I'm going to wait till all the facts is presented. I think that's not a bad thing. As long as you put it out there as that. Now, if you gaslight us and say, no, there's nothing going on, you're just as bad as everybody else. Now, if you say, nah, I heard some shit, but I can't comment on nothing right now. That's my man's. I'm going to have to look into this more. I'm cool with that. To ignore the problem, That's gaslighting. To say that's my man's, I ain't gonna talk about it. Cause I've said when ask Joe, they've sent shit across my desk about him. That's my man's. Y'all ain't gonna get me to run this shit. You crazy. I sent it right to him. That's my man's. That's my man's. I don't care what you niggas say. I understand that. And I would get on here and say that. So I have no problem with Joe saying, nah, Hov's my man. I'm good. It's the gaslighting like nothing exists and that you're not covering it because of the privilege that he has that's your man's. That's my thing.
There we go.
I don't know. I don't have a relationship with Desiree. I've never met Desiree. I don't have any equity there.
Okay.
So she's in the news now in a story that I'm sure we'll get to at some point. But that story just broke.
But why? But
the other
why?
day.
But Joe,
even that, I do have a certain type of, pardon me, Mark, a certain type of sensitivity to speaking about any story with anybody's children.
Mm-hmm. I agree. What I was going to say, like, why would you report that story?
That's cap. I don't care about what's going on with her and her child. She sued Rock Nation. Her child sued Rock Nation. Listen, Desiree Perez, we know she's the CEO of Rock Nation, but she also sued Rock Nation. That's all we're talking about. But as you know, Joe already hit the secret out button, which is that's my man's. So for me, I'll digress. I just want people to know when people are asking, why you the only nigga talking about it? Jay not my man's. So I'll cover it and I'll do my best to keep it fair. That's Joe's man's. Charlamagne got fired by him. These people have agendas. Not necessarily saying this to their detriment, because at times I've gotten things about my man's that I'm not going to speak about either. But as long as the audience knows, because I'm in these streets watching not only what people say, but what's coming out. It's like, why y'all not talking about this? What you mean why we not talking about this? I'm down to talk about it. I'm just saying nobody else ain't down to talk about it. So again, I'm back to my original point. Y'all stop bringing up Rock Nation's power control, their intimidation, their heavy hand that they influence shit with, if I'm the only one that could talk about it. Because again, I think y'all have set me up to the point where I'm going to catch a lawsuit by these motherfuckers, or they're going to just figure out a way to completely eradicate me. I don't think I could get eradicated by a rapper. It's the reason why I do whatever I do. Oh, you got a concert? I don't give a fuck if you hate me. I'm there. Y'all can't eradicate me. Who could eradicate me is the conglomerate worth billions of dollars with the best lawyers in the world. And when they say, we're going to get this fucker out of here, and we have $1 billion budget, not saying they would use it all on me, I think that is something that I don't want to be playing toyfully around. So from now on, if the culture has decided that Rock Nation topics, no matter how heinous, no matter how vile, no matter how manipulative, no matter how deceptive it seems, they don't want to address it, well, I wipe my hands clean. I told you I'm not Jesus. I'm not here to pick up for no victims. I could tell you right now, me and Rock Nation, we're probably in a stalemate. They have never filed a civil suit against me. They have never taken legal action, even though I don't know if they try to do some weird shit. They did some stuff against, I got to talk to Grand, Akademiks TV. Hey, don't play with Akademiks TV now. We got no action against each other. I'm telling you, I'm retreating. I got nothing to say bad about y'all. Keep finessing these niggas. Keep abusing these niggas. Keep doing whatever y'all do. I'm no spokesperson. And Rock Nation, my final message to you and Jay-Z, fuck these niggas, okay? They don't want to speak up. I don't give a fuck either. Just leave me alone, all right? That's my thought. I'm sorry, Chad. I know y'all think I'm like Batman, but like, oh, Batman's coming. No way, nigga. Hell no. Okay. Let's get back to the Diddy trial for a little bit. Just pop some topics in here. Y'all remember, I'm a little, well, you don't get jet lag. The flight was only like an hour and 30 minutes. There's no way I got jet lag, but I didn't get too much sleep. So, I'm doing as best as I can, but, we covered pretty much everything up to date. Give me any little different topic that I could, knock out today, please.
We can't all get into their head, right?
Well, for a racketeering conspiracy, right, a criminal agreement, they better all be on the same page and know what's going on, and they all have to work towards a common purpose using common methods and means. Otherwise, it's a very disjointed situation, and the more that the defense can show a lack of knowledge, the more they say this is not a racketeering conspiracy, which is, by the way, I think why Christina Coram has to testify to be that connective tissue, because if she's going to be a government witness, I'm sure she'll be the person, or who they hope to be the person, will say, everybody knew what the game plan was. Everybody was on the same page. Everybody knew what we were all doing here. It was common knowledge. They need more of what David Jameson testified to, that when he joined, everybody said, oh, it was Sean Combs' kingdom. We're all here to serve it. They need more of that in order to get racketeering. By the way, though, focusing on the idea that Jane was not a victim but a willing participant, that she set up these events, that she
There's a new Drake leak.
Agreed to do all these things as a way to please Combs or see Combs.
Chat, I'm going to get a Drake update. It's just that I just went to the Kendrick concert, and I feel like the Kendrick dudes were so heated that I'm going to keep it a beam with you. I heard people telling me, like few people who didn't know, they said, yo, don't you think Drake's going to be mad that you went to Kendrick's concert? And I looked at it and I said, I'm going to be honest with you. He better not be mad. That's what I said. But after going to the Kendrick concert and speaking with a few of their partners that seemed like they were, I'll call it, passionate, I don't think it's one-sided. I think both of them feel away. So I'm going to give Drake 3 days. I'm going to give him 3 days, and I'll ask about Iceman then. All right? Now, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't give a fuck. Maybe he doesn't give a fuck. I'm not saying he does. But after seeing Dave freeing him, I said, you know what? Everybody's taking this shit mad serious but me. Because I'll pop the fuck up. And they were looking at me like, why would you come here, nigga? Are you coming here to try us? It's all good. Big Ack is in the building. So I'm going to ask Drake. Y'all think he heard about it, that I went to the show? Not that I give a fuck if he heard about it. But before I try to solicit some information about Iceman, I'm going to wait. I've heard Mealy Mall say that there's a bomb. That's expected. There's a bomb on Iceman. Iceman bomb. That's what Mealy Mall is saying. And while I don't like that fuck nigga, I will admit he does have a line.
So Diddy got a new lawyer, Bradford Cohen, the one who represented Young Thug. And I really want to know, how much is Diddy paying for his legal defense team? Like, it has to be at least like 5 to 10 mil that he's paying for this legal defense team, which I understand it. Your life is on the line, basically. Man, I genuinely feel bad for Diddy, kind of. Because, like, let's keep it a bean. Like, okay, if there's underage kids involved, I don't feel bad. Anyone underage, I don't feel bad. If there's anyone being drugged and stuff happening against their will, I don't feel bad. But I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know if you guys ever heard about the allegations of the women who get flown out to, like, places like Dubai and pissed and shit on for, like, $50K. If women are going by will to these places, knowing what's gonna happen, and it happens to them, should we necessarily feel bad for them? Like, that's part of, like, where my head's at on these kind of situations. Like, the Cassie thing, I understand that she was getting abused. But everybody else, bro, come on. Like, I don't know. But yeah. Let me know how you guys feel about everything. It's your boy Big Act News. Either it's free Diddy or keep Diddy. It doesn't really matter to me. Let me know how you guys feel about everything in the comments below. And I'm out.